Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of You Can Have It All. I'm your girl, your host, Leslie T. Mitchell, and I am so excited that you are joining us for today's episode. And so, listen, if you are new to You Can Have It All, just know we are family. You are now my new cousins. That's how we get down over here at You Can Have It All. And so, today I am so excited for my guest, my special guest today. I mean, this young lady is doing some amazing things. Listen, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, we tried to do this a couple weeks ago, but it just was not happening, honey. And so we knew that God is going to move on this today. And so, listen, I'm going to introduce to you my good friend. I mean, I've known Imeshia for like years now. We grew up. I'm a little older than her. I say that, okay, but we grew up in the same church family. And one thing I love about Imeshia is that she really has a heart of gold. I mean, like she really cares about people and really was a servant. You know, she was always, what can she do? What can she do? And that just one thing that always struck to me. She has such a sweet spirit. She's a quiet storm, I like to say. And and I am so excited that she said yes to being on You Can Have It All. I'm gonna let her tell her about herself, but I just want to let y'all know who we have on today. And so one of the movements that I love that Imeshia is doing is the self-care. Like the soulful, I think it's self-care Sundays or soulful Sundays. Like I love that whole movement with the self-care, but she is also a business owner. And she started a business with, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. She started a business with her mother. And so I can't wait to hear about that. And so the name of their business is A Successful Journey. They've been in business for over 4 years, right? And it's an advocate. Oh, your business is from look at me trying to mess it up. I don't want to mess it up, y'all. They work with adults with disabilities, right, and developmental issues, and helping them be able to be successful in, in life, in the community, and transitioning and all of that. And so, just working with disability, people with disabilities, that's a gift in itself, right? You have a heart for that. It has to be something that that you've been called to do. And so, I believe you and your mom, you definitely have been called to do that, because everyone can't do that, right? Everyone can't do that and do it from an authentic place, at least, right? And so I'm excited to have you on. Welcome, 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 my friend, to the show.
Thank you for having me on to the show. I'm Imeshia Graham. I am a mother, I am a wife, I'm a business owner, and also I'm an advocate for Self-Care Sunday 2022. Yes, we've been in business for 4 years. My mom was working for a company a few years ago that was downgrading their business and changing some things out. So she asked me if I wanted to go into business with her in the same line of work, and I also used to do the same thing years ago. And so that's how we came about with A Successful Journey. And we have a business partner, so it's 3 of us that's total in the business. But yes, I love what I do. It's a journey. It's rewarding. You have to have a passion. You have to have a passion for people, a heart for people, because it can get, you can get emotional about it. So you have to know how to balance it all out and everything. And so that's what.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That, like I said, it's truly a gift to be able to work, with people with, with challenges, right? With disabilities and
Yes.
challenges. And so I know you said that your mom was working in that industry and you had worked in it years ago. But do you have, tell us about, do you have someone close to you, that that may have a disability, that may have some challenges, that this was like, because it has, I think, a lot of times what we do comes from something that we're involved in, right? Something that we're close to, a family member or a child or a sibling, that kind of, it ignites the fuel within us, right? To want to help others, and that may be in those situations.
Yeah. So a few years ago, like in my early 20s, I worked at a business. I don't want to say the name, but that it's a facility that adults with developmental disability and mental health, they go to throughout the daytime. It's like a day program. and they learn different trainings and different skills. So I used to help with in that aspect of it. So working in that part of it, and then actual working hands on with them, it's just like like a yeah, total night and day, but same type of experience.
Right.
And my daughter, she has ADHD. And so it allowed me to have the free time to be able to be available to her when, when she's not having a good day at school, when things are overwhelming with her and a little challenging. But yeah, so that's how I got really passionate about it. And to see how a lot of a lot of the clients don't really have the family support.
Mm,
That's what's the touching part about it. So like, when I go into work, it's not I'm just going in. I'm going in to be a that support system for
right.
someone that don't have that family support. And and it's kind of not sad, but touching because a lot of my clients are like around my age,
Wow.
and it's just like, oh wow, this could have been me.
Right.
It could be any of us. For your parent to give up on you because you may not be the average child,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
have had difficulties in the past with certain things. And you know what really is touching, a lot of parents see these signs at a young age,
I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you. I was
and
going to ask you that.
they don't want to address it. And it's not fair to the child, because you have to think of when the child becomes an adult, who's going to teach this child how to go out in the real world and face these challenges
Hmm.
and still have a developmental disability. And not even just the developmental disability part of it, there's they deal with mental health issues as well. So that's like, your child need the help in the beginning, and then but you as a parent, you're being selfish because you don't want the outside world to know that my child may be a little challenging and whatever, but you're not thinking of the long term of your child.
Hmm.
Like, take your, if anybody is a parent that's listening to this or have experienced things like this, like, get the help while your child can get the help as a young age. So when they become a young adult, they'll know how to maneuver and how to experience life challenges along the way. So yeah.
Yeah. So I, to that point, because I was going to ask you, like,
Hmm.
what would be some of the not really symptoms, but what would be some of those triggers or some of those things that parents that we should be looking out for, that may be like, okay, my child may be, going through something. They may have some. A lot of times, it's a little easier to spot when it's educational difficulties, but
Hmm.
like you said, there are other areas, right, that they may be having challenges. So what are some of those things that parents can look out for?
Like for me, I can only go from my experience.
Hmm.
I'm not a licensed professional
Right.
to anybody. So I noticed certain things with my own child when, like, being in a crowd of people, um, how they maneuver and operate, do things like just pay those close attention, those th- pay close attention to the little things,
Okay.
the littlest things, make it, bring it to the doctor's attention and things like that, because you don't want to wait. Because, like, you see a lot of this where parents see these things and they just don't want to, like, it's kind of, it's stressful. It is really
Hmm.
stressful, because who wants to, even though my daughter has ADHD, she's very high functional. She is very intelligent. She is super smart, on the road, everything. It's just that her mind may tell her to do something totally different than the average child.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I give her what she needs to help her for longevity, because God, who's to say I may not be here for the long term. And her biological mom may not be here for the long term. Who's to say it? God, I pray to God we do, but I want to be able to. I give her the help and the things that she need for later in life. Like she has a therapist. So she has
Right.
all things.
Mhm.
Like, don't be afraid of that stuff. Like it's
I
there.
think sometimes too, as parents, especially in our communities, right? In the Black community, in our community, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, they're gonna grow out of that, right? They're going through a
No.
phase, or sometimes we may see that they just shy, right? They just don't like being around people, and that could be
And you know what
something that we have to
heard?
pay attention to.
I have heard people say that's very spiritual and everything. Oh, it's a spirit. Like we're all different at the end of the day. God made us totally different. Like as I was a young kid, I lost 50% of my hearing. So that made me have to learn how to speak. Talk. I don't talk about that, but that was a challenging time for my parents. But my parents look like they really got on top of everything. you
Mhm.
know it could have caused me some real issues in life, but I think that's why my mom and dad was so like you're gonna go through it, you're gonna do this, whatever, but don't allow it to hinder who you are as a person. We all have different things, but that don't allow it to hinder you as a person
Yeah,
of who
that's
you are.
that's huge. And like you said, like we all go through. God made us all different.
Hmm.
That's so true. And we're all gonna go through different things and experience different things. But I think the key is that, as parents, we have to be advocates for our children, right? And we
Yes.
have to,
Hmm.
your child, right? And sometimes you
Yeah.
feel like parents, they can be in denial, right?
Hmm.
Or we think it's a phase that, they're just going through it and they're gonna grow out of it. But we have to, be more diligent, I think,
Hmm.
as parents, and be advocates, because I was actually I interviewed someone else a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and she's really big on mental health, and she was just telling me how, like, you have so many, like you said, young adults
Hmm.
dealing with so many mental health issues that stemmed from them being children, where as
Yeah.
parents it was just not spoken about, or it was just ignored. It was just like, you just being extra, like you know how we can do, right?
Yeah.
And not being sensitive.
But we live in a totally different time to where kids experience things totally different than.
Different.
And I'm 42, so it's not like I'm that old, but like kids are experiencing things totally
We
different. So parents has to be on top of things and making sure. And sometimes things can be a phase. They can
Right,
grow out of. But what if they don't?
right.
What if they really don't? And then, your child now 25 really realizing like, dang, my child did have some issues. My child was dealing with some mental health issues. Man, I should have really got that help like 10 or 20 years ago. Yes, because that could have really prepared them how to handle and how to go through life with these same issues or challenges. Just because you have mental health issues or disability, that does not mean you cannot be a book writer, you cannot have your own business, you can't do anything that you want to. It's all about the support that the person has behind them. So if it starts at a young age where that you're a supportive parent, well, you get your child into therapy to see a
Mhm.
psychiatrist. Okay, so what if they have to go on meds to be in school? But guess what? While they're in school, your child is able to function and not. And you have to think of the teacher. Think of the teacher. The teacher has 18 other kids outside of your one child that she has to or he has to deal with throughout the day. So if that medication could allow your child to sit in the seat for 6 hours out of the day, and when they get home, okay, yeah, they can do whatever. But think of them as they're getting their education, and think of them as long term.
Long term. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that's powerful. Just what you said, because a lot of times we don't look at it from the teacher's perspective or the school's perspective. We're
Mhm.
looking at it, just from our own lens. And so, like you said, it's better if that's what's needed, right? If that's what's needed. For the child to be able to
Yeah.
function, for the child to be able to learn, for the child to
Mhm.
be able, to be a part of the class, and and to get through that day, then by all means, you may need to do that, right? Because we got
Yes.
to look at the whole picture. And sometimes as parents, we can be selfish, right? Or we don't really we're not looking from it from that total perspective. And so I thank you for even giving that perspective of it. And I know for those who are watching who may be, dealing with children who may have some behavioral issues, right?
Yeah.
They have, some attention span issues, right? I mean, so it's just something to really begin to think about. And like I said, we know our child, right? We know
Mhm.
our child, and we just have to be better advocates for our children. I think that at the end of
Yes.
the day, right? And do
Yes.
what's best for them. It may cause us a little,
Yeah.
discomfort. It may cause, because I hear you say like now most of your clients you're dealing with, they're middle, they're young adults and they don't have that support system. So that's even more challenging, more burdensome, to be in a position where, you're kind of out there by yourself, right? And you don't
Yes.
know how to navigate and chart, the life. And the thing I love you said, even with a disability, right? They can still be business owners, right? They can
Mhm.
still be, authors. What they can do the things that they desire to do, because we all have challenges. But it's about the main thing is about having that support system. So in your business, like
Yeah.
what type of services do you all provide?
We provide personal support and supportive living. So personal support is like you're teaching them more of how to handle their business, take care of their bills, um and then supportive living is teaching them how to really maintain their household.
Okay.
It's both of them. It's like like majority. It's like giving them that support that they need and giving them the life skills that they need to know as far as like how to keep their home clean, how to manage their budget. They get a certain amount of money per month. They need to know, okay, this is all I can do for I need to pay my rent. After I pay my rent, pay the lights and cable, not cable, well, cable
Right.
and whatever else, phone bill. And then whatever is left over, how you're gonna manage and
Mm-hmm.
budget this money that you may have $200 left over for the whole month. So, and then some of our clients, they get, they're on a fixed income and some of them don't get food stamps. So they have to learn how to manage getting food and be able to still eat out to have that experience that, everyday
Right.
lifestyle like anyone else. We take them, like we have a client every week, he wants to go get wings or he wants to do this or whatever, and then he wants to get a haircut. So you like to take them out in the community, take them to the mall, allow them to choose things that they want, like comforter,
Mm-hmm.
sheets, and things like that.
Wow. I mean, so here's the thing with that, right?
Yes.
What you're teaching them, everybody needs those life skills, right? And so
Mm.
a lot of times, so I mean, I remember this is so interesting how you say that, right? Because we take those things for granted, right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there are a lot of young people
That don't
who
know.
don't have those skills today, period. Whether they
Yeah.
have a disability or they don't. And it's interesting
Yes.
because I remember Dominic
Uh-huh.
when his freshman year in school,
Hmm.
and he would talk about his roommate, like his roommate, didn't know how to wash clothes,
Wow.
right? Didn't really know how to make up his bed. Like he was, and I'm like, what is he's 18, 19 years old? What do you
Wow.
mean? And so, there's a generation, right, as
Hmm.
parents that we are failing them because
Yeah.
we don't we did so much for our kids, right? Because our parents, they taught us those things, right?
Yeah.
But we've gotten to where we want to, we may make more money than our parents did and stuff like that. So we want to give our children up, a
Mhm.
different type of lifestyle and all of that, but we're hindering them, to the real world because there's going
Yeah.
to be a time where they have to leave and they have to be able to, do those basic things, understand, checking and savings and
Yes.
being able to manage their money. And so I just think across the board, those are skills that aren't being taught just
Yeah.
from my experience with my children going to college and just hearing their experiences from their friends and some
Yes.
of the things that they know that their friends didn't even have a clue. And I'm like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think there's been a disconnect. Um, in as generations go on, there's been like a total disconnect. So I mean, that's
I
amazing.
totally agree. I
Yeah,
totally agree.
yeah,
So no, it's a challenging job, but it's a rewarding job to know that you could be the support and be that family and show, the saddest part of it all. We have a client and it's every day. I mean, every day where he doesn't go without telling you he love you, but I
mm,
can say it back. And it's just like, oh, like, somebody telling you you love them and you can't say it back for different reasons and
right,
within the contract and everything. But
right,
and then they always tell me like, I look like I see you as my sister, like a big sister. And we're the same age. Like, and he's actually older than me, like by,
wow,
and it's just like wow, like and to not have his mom and his dad is still here or whatever, but not to have that, like, that real family
family.
support. Yeah, so it's
Wow.
important. It's really important.
Wow. Well, listen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, y'all.
Okay.
When we come back, we talked to Amisha about her business, but we're gonna get to know her a little bit more. About I want to get into the self-care Sunday and how that all came about because I'm like total in love with that movement, and so we're gonna dive in a little bit more on that. And so we're gonna be back right after this short little commercial break, y'all. Hey everybody, this is your girl Leslie P. Mitchell, and I'm excited to be coming to you today to invite you to be an exclusive member of my new VIP club, You Can Have It All. And so you're probably saying, well, Leslie, what is this mastermind all about? We're going to be talking about equipping you, educating you, and empowering you on how to live your best life now. We're going to be focused on 3 pillars: building, business, and lifestyle. And so in order for you to be a part of this community, all you have to do is click on the link below. See you soon. All right, everyone. We are back. We are back with my girl, Imeshia Graham, the founder of Self-Care Sunday 2022. So listen, I want to get into this. Right? Because this is a topic that's near and dear to me. And so how did, this whole movement of Self-Care Sunday, how did that come about?
Okay, so it came about a couple of years ago. I was really struggling with like trying to find who Anisha was, just starting the business, being married, having a daughter, just trying to juggle it all. And it's just like, okay, how do I have time for myself? Like, where do I get the time from? So it took me to between clients or dropping my daughter off to school, I will always sit in my car for like 5 to 10 minutes. And the 5 to 10 minutes turned into 45 minutes to an hour. And I was like, oh, wow, I like this. Like, get to hear my own thoughts and get to just like focus on me for that moment. And then when we got into when the pandemic started with COVID, that really took a toll because it's like, everybody shut down, even in our business to a point where we couldn't even go into our clients' homes sometimes, we had to learn how to do that. So I was like, I need to start taking time out. So I started on Sunday. I would take that first part of the day, the morning, to myself and just do what I needed to do for me. And then that's when I started with the Self Care Sunday 2022 on Facebook and Instagram, where I was trying to encourage people to do self-care, giving out different tips on how to do self-care, because it starts with 5 minutes, because 5 minutes, you only need 5 minutes to jot down a little, journal entry, to schedule out your week, or just to do something for yourself. So then you increase it as you need it more and more. And it's just like, it became like, I love it. Like, I learned to take time for myself. I don't feel selfish anymore about doing it.
Yes.
It is just like, it is something that's needed for not just for a woman, your spouse also.
Yes.
Because like you get so caught up in the whole married life That's all, because I'm
Yes.
married. And so you're so caught up in the whole married life until where you become like, okay, you're always around your partner, always doing it. And it's just like, okay, who am I without anybody else
Without
attached
eat.
to me?
Yes.
You know,
And
like
do I even like being with myself?
exactly, exactly.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I find myself walking around in Target and it's just like, oh, like, I could
Yeah.
use a little company. But then I said, you know what, I like this, just like being by myself and enjoying just the time
Enjoying
alone.
time with yourself. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, so I'm big on the balancing and the
Yes.
self love, and self care, and so I resonate with that so much because I'm sure women out here who's watching this show, right? I'm sure we have all
Yeah.
sat in the car in the garage, honey. For
Yes.
that's me. That used to be me, like for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40
And
minutes, right?
before you know, it's a whole hour. You
Right.
like,
And I'm just like, whoo, right. And
yes.
so it's something even that I'm teaching, my daughter Jalen to, to like, go out by yourself, right? Take
Hmm.
yourself to dinner, take yourself to the movie, take
I
yourself to the
did
park,
that one.
right?
Hmm.
Enjoy yourself because you got to get to a place where, you can, and like you, right? You have to, like yourself. And I think, it's so key to have, that alone time. Just like you said, with your spouse, sometimes, or your children, sometimes like you need that break, and
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that. And oftentimes I tell people in my classes, that, you have to become a little selfish,
It's
right?
very,
You have to
very,
become selfish, and people can, make you feel guilty about wanting some me time. You need some alone time. You need some quiet time.
hmm
And one of the things I learned, I was reading up, and this lady,
hmm
she had like, I think she had 15 kids or something. She had
oh,
like some ridiculous amount of kids, right? Like 15, maybe might was 17. And she found time to be by herself for at
wow.
least an hour a day. And even though she had all these children, she
Yeah.
said that she had this chair, like a rocking chair, and she would sit in that chair and she would put like a towel or something over her face. And her children knew that meant not to ask her anything,
Yeah.
to talk to her, not to anything. That was her time to herself.
Yes.
So I'm like, wow, if she can find an hour a day with 17 kids,
Yeah.
oh,
You can do it easily. Yes. Yes.
so it's just about. So tell us about some of the, because I know you have a whole movement. Tell us about some of the, like the activities that you do, or and I know you have a, your podcast. Tell us, a little bit about, the things that you have going on when it comes to the self care Sundays.
Okay. So, in the past, I would do a segment on Sunday, 5 to 10 minutes about different tips on how to actually just get out and just start to do the self care. And then, a lot of people, it's like, oh, that's easy. Like, self care is totally easy. And I'm like, it's not all about getting your hair done, getting your nails done, getting a pedicure. It's actually like taking care of yourself. Like exercising, trying to eat
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
trying to be, a better person, be around people that's going to motivate you, that's going
Yeah.
to encourage you. Um, just really, and then it took to I was listening to someone, and the girl said, we're all about the self-care thing and da da da. And she was like, with that comes with the self-care, you have to realize you're taking care of your mental health at the end of
Mm,
the day,
true.
and your physical health, and then everything else, and then your spiritual health increase too, because guess what, you're asking God to, like, for direction. You're asking God
Hmm.
to push you, to motivate you, to, because I have to ask that sometimes, and not sometimes, all the time.
All the
but
time, girl. Me
but
too.
it takes the people that's around me. Like, I have friends that pour into me all the time, pour into me, but guess what, I have to make sure I'm good too, so I could pour into them, because you can't just receive from people and
Come
not
on.
be able to pour back into them. And I know,
Yes.
like, because you can't be that person where everybody can come and lay their problems to you, and then guess what, you're worrying about their problems and your problems. So you have to learn how to set off the boundary part of it. And I talk about boundaries, and if you go back and follow me on Facebook or Instagram, Self Care Sunday 2022, talk about boundaries, setting boundaries within yourself, what you're going to allow people to do to you, what you're going to allow yourself to do to others. And it's just like, it's a whole self-care is all, it's more than just the outer appearance. We got to think
Yes.
about the inner part of ourselves to really deep, like really get to know who you are as an individual. And it took me turning 40 for me to realize a lot of this stuff. I didn't understand what I was going through because I was going through
Yeah.
the whole like change, and that's how I came about with the Change After 40 podcast and things like that. Because you actually go through a change. It's like a
You
life
do.
experience, and it's just like, okay, you beat yourself up because you're not where you want to be at, where you think you should be, I should
Mm-hmm.
say,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes back to what how God wants you to be and how He wants you to go about things. And I have taken a step back lately from with the self-care Sunday because I am really shifting, and it's kind of scary because sometimes I'm like, okay, God, do I really want to do this? Like, is this is what I need to do? But just sitting back and just allowing God to direct me in the way that I need to go. And it took a friend from it took a friend to tell me that a couple of weeks ago, like maybe I need to just sit back and just like be silent, like just listen to what God is telling you to do. Just be quiet, and just be quiet. It's kind of hard to to be quiet and just listen sometimes, but it's a learning process, and
It's
it's
definitely, I mean, I totally agree and get what you're saying. Like you said so many things throughout this. And one of the things you said, I want people to make sure that they grasp is that you said, self-care is not just about the outer appearance.
it's
Right.
not.
And sometimes that's what we think about. Oh, let me get my hair did, let me get my nails, let me get my feet. It's about doing the inner work. And the
Mm,
inner work is not always pretty. The
no.
inner work is not always easy to do. It's a hard thing to do. Man.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, as a black woman, young African American woman, we can, oh, I, you know, we have some sisters that could be so gorgeous on the outside,
But the inside,
dressed to the T, but the inside is so bitter. The inside is so sour. We cannot
mm-hmm,
embrace each other.
mm-hmm.
It's just, so that's where, the outer appearance could be good, but how's your inner appearance? Like, how are you really juggling with yourself in the inside, And
Yes. Do you really like yourself? Because, like you said,
exactly.
as women, we have a tendency, we can put that mask on, honey. We can look
Yes,
good,
real
we
quick.
can be boom, boom, bam, but in the inside, we don't even like ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. In the inside, like you said, we bitter, we sour, I mean, it's just junk in the inside. Right.
Hmm. Yeah.
And when people, get to see that, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right. Wait
And
a minute.
you have
Because you
other
can't
women
keep
that's
up that.
admiring you.
Yeah.
You
And
have
you can't
other
keep up that. It's
Yeah, and other women are admiring you, and so they're admiring you from the outside, but then they're really not understanding like the inside of you is like full of junk and full of confusion and everything else. So that's what self care is all about. Forget about the outer appearance.
yeah.
Just work on the inside of you, get you together mentally, physically, spiritually, but most of all, spiritually, like your connection with God will allow the outer beauty and your inner beauty to like speak
To
for
just
itself.
shine. To just see.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I remember, like, for even my own self, I just remember going through that, what you just talked about, sitting still, right? Just disconnecting from everything and just allowing God to do the work. Because that's kind of how my balancing book came about, because I was all over the place. And on the outside, it looked like I did have it going on. But on the inside, I was drowning, right? I was exhausted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was overwhelmed. It was just crazy. And so I had to just disconnect. I tell people sometimes you have to disconnect right? And connect back into the right power source and sit. And so there can be seasons, like you said, a season in your life where you're just sitting, right? A
Yeah.
season in your life where you're just waiting on God, a season in your life where you just being you, being with you and
Mm-hmm.
figuring out who is Imeshia, right? Who is Leslie? Who am I? Because a lot of times we don't really know who we are, right?
We
We
don't.
can spill off the roles that we do. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, but who are you deep down inside, and are we who God says we are? Do we even believe, you know, that we are who God says we are? And so, man, that's just girl.
That's the thing. Like, do you really believe in inside that whatever you asking God for, that He's gonna do for you? And so therefore, sometimes you have to sit down. Sometimes you have to be quiet. Sometimes you have to, like, detach, to reattach yourself to people. And that whole season thing, like, I never understood, some people can't go with you in a new season that you're going into. And I'm like, you want everybody to come with you, but if you think about it, you really don't. You really don't. Because that it's a new season for a reason. So therefore you want new energy, new motivation, new things. Not to say that you don't want to be attached to the old things, but in this new season, I need a whole
A
new, like,
whole new, yep. It's
yes,
like a whole. Sometimes it's new connections, right?
yes, yes,
It's new atmospheres, right? It's
yeah.
just, yeah, like you said, it's not that you don't want to be attached, right? And sometimes God separates you for a reason, and
Hmm.
we have to begin to become okay with that. I know for me, I had to begin to become okay with being separated from
Hmm.
people who I still love, who I still cherish, but we God had me going in a different direction, and I couldn't bring those people with me, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
sometimes, we because we're loyal, we love people, we want everybody to come.
yeah.
And
We
God is saying,
loyal,
no,
but
mm-mm.
are we loyal to ourselves though? Like, we be loyal to people all day long, even in our marriage, even in being a mom, being a
Yes,
daughter, being a business owner. But are you really loyal to yourself? You know,
listen, y'all.
that's a question to ask
That's the
you.
question. That's the
Yeah.
question. Ask yourself, are you really loyal to yourself? And here's the thing: as women, you know, we we are nurturers by nature. We are supporters by nature. We like to solve by nature. We like to be there for everyone by nature. And oftentimes we put ourselves last. And a lot of that
Hmm.
has to do what I've learned. It stems from our upbringing, right? It
Yeah.
stems from watching if you were raised with your grandmother, or I was raised with my great grandmother and my grandmother. So
Oh.
watching them, get up super early and be the last person to go to bed, right?
Hmm.
Watching them put everyone's needs before their needs, right? And so in our subconscious, we emulate what we've seen, right? We
Hmm.
emulate what we've seen, and so we begin to repeat that same cycle, not realizing, right? Things have changed.
Yes.
Times have changed. My grandmother, they didn't work outside the home, right? And so they could do that, right? Whereas
Yeah.
now we got about 3, 4 jobs. We got a business, we got a job, we coaching, we doing all these things, and we're still trying to live up to that. And that's way too
Mhm.
much pressure. Like
Yeah.
it's way, so we have to reprogram our thinking, reprogram our mind. And then we have to make sure that our daughters, right,
Oh
that they
wow.
aren't seeing that same thing, because it just goes from the
Yeah.
generation to the
So
next generation to the
it's
next generation.
we're just passing it on. But and if you think about it, is that something good to pass down? It's
No,
not.
it's
It's
not.
not, because you're not teaching, young women to, especially the ones that wants to be married, right? You feeling like you got to do all of this, all of this, all of this, because your mom did it, your great grandmother, your grandmother did it. But then, are you leaving room for the man that God has for you to pick up some of those things and take some of those things off your plate?
Yeah.
So we have to be very mindful of the, what they say, generational curse and generational. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be very mindful of how we pass things down.
We do.
And it's okay to be that strong woman, to be able to hold it down, but at the same time, you have to be able to. And it took your book for me to understand understand where it's when you talk about asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
You designate people to help you, and that was really a challenging part for me to ask for help, especially on days when my daughter was not able to really like settle herself down. It took a lot for me to say, "Oh, mom or dad or whoever, can you really help me out?" Even my husband, like, "Can you help me out?" Because I felt like I needed to have on this superwoman cape, and superwoman is not real, first
Come
of all.
on
So
now. Come on.
so
Come
so
on.
like, why do I feel like I have to carry all these things and be able to juggle all these things when I got all these people that's in my corner, that loves me, that supports me, and just supposed to be there for me. So why can't I designate things out to them? So yeah.
Girl, you hit the net. Listen, you hit the nail on the head. You said that that's one of my pet things with the superwoman syndrome. I'm like, people, let it go. It's like you said,
Yes.
the superwoman is not real. That's a fictitious character. And
Yeah.
so as women, we tend to take on that role, which we're not supposed to take on. Right? We don't have any superhuman strength. We don't have to be all to everyone, right? We need to learn how to, let our guard down, learn how to be vulnerable, learn how to say, help, I need some help. I can't do this by myself. And
Exactly.
that's okay. And so I'm
Mhm.
telling people, listen, I'm not superwoman. I don't want to be superwoman. That's
Yeah.
just too baby, that's just too much. And I can't
Too
do it. And so, and so I am glad, that we that you brought that up and that people, can understand, especially women, that we don't have to take on these fictitious roles, right? We are not our grandmothers. We are not our great grandmothers. We are in a different day and time. And
Yes.
it's okay, right, to not have to do everything and be okay with that and not be everything to everybody. It's okay. Like you said set boundaries. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to tell
It's
people no.
important.
It's okay not to show up for everything. It's okay. It's
Hmm.
okay at the end of the day, because like you said, it's about having your mental health, right? Having your
Yeah.
spiritual health, having your physical, like all of those things have to be in balance, have to be in line. And it takes work, right? It takes work, but
Yes.
it starts with you looking inward and really owning up to who you are, and then who you want to be.
And it's scary. It's really scary
Yeah, it's
because
not easy.
when you start looking, doing, soul searching and within yourself, there's so many other things come out that you're not prepared for it to come out. So you have to be very mindful and be ready for the new change. Because when God wants to change things in your life and reshift things and have it, they say go, like, you gotta be and be very mindful what you ask God for, because listen, He made he's going to give you what you ask for, but you gotta be ready for it, and so
Yes,
just
that's true.
I, yeah, you gotta be ready for, really ready for it,
You
you
got
know.
to be ready. You got to be ready for what God asks you for. So listen, I can't believe, oh my God, we almost to the end of
Yes.
the show. This has been like phenomenal, amazing. Like I love the discussion, but I always ask all of my guests
Okay.
on the show, when you hear the phrase, you can have it all, what does that mean to you?
You can have whatever you allow your mind to think that you could have. So you have to like be ready for the mindset, um whatever you think that you can have, and with the relationship and in your prayer life, like you can have it all, but you got to be ready for the new shift that's going to come along with it. Like seriously, you have to be ready, because that whole new shift may be something like a whole new life, and it may be something that you may not be, you not understanding what it all is entails, into it. So you can have whatever you put your mind to it. You can just have it all. Like, and it's kind of, and I know we got to wrap it up. It goes back to where I remember praying, asking God to please give me a business that I can be flexible with my child, be able to spend time with my family, um, things like that. God, I wanted a podcast. He blessed me with the podcast. And so, I have to be very mindful when I'm asking God for things, because it seems not seems, but it comes to pass. So I have to be very mindful and be ready for it. So yeah, you can have whatever you set your mind to, and it's all about the mindset, and it's all about you're willing to welcome the change in,
Mm,
you know.
that's good. I mean, oh baby, be willing to welcome the change.
Yeah, you have
That's
to,
huge. That man, that's huge. Oh man, that blessed me. Listen,
because the
listen.
new change, you may not even like the new change, and it could be scary. Like I said, it could be scary. So you have to be willing to welcome it in. But at the same time, you just have to ask God to guide you through it all. Your relationship with God is what's going to get you through everything. And it goes with, you have to have that relationship with God, but the people that you're connected with got to have that same powerful relationship with God, because guess what? Your true, real friends and people that support you, they know when you're off balance, when
Yeah.
your things are not going right, or just you know that spiritual connection. You know,
Mm,
even that soul tie, that doesn't apply to just sexual, but it applies
mhm,
to friendships too.
mhm,
'Cause you
mhm.
have a soul tie with people that you connected with, so they know when things are not right. So therefore, it all comes together.
Wow. Man, that was good. Listen, you dropped some gems. You dropped some gems. And so as we wrap up, let the people know how they can connect with you, how they can follow you, where can they find you on social media, and stuff like that.
Okay, once again, my name is Imeshia Graham. You can follow me on Facebook with Imeshia Graham, but Self Care Sunday 2022 on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, y'all. So listen, I told y'all this was going to be good. I told y'all this was going to be good. And so I am so thankful for you jumping on, coming on today and just sharing with us your knowledge, just hearing the passion in your voice, around all the things we talked about today around, the mental health, being advocates for our children, taking care of yourself, being willing and open and ready for the change and doing that inner work. I mean, listen, y'all, I know this blessed y'all because it truly blessed me. And so I want to thank you guys for coming on and joining us on You Can Have It All, where we believe, right, that we truly believe that you can live the life that God has destined you to live. But here's
Yeah,
the thing, just like Amisha said, you got to be ready. All
yeah.
right, you got to be ready. And so stay tuned for another edition of You Can Have It All. God bless you.
Thank you. Love
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.
Hey, this your girl Leslie T. Mitchell, and I'm so excited to tell you about my 12-week business mastery program. In this program, we're going to discover your leadership style, the way you like to communicate with one another. We're going to talk about how you can take your business to the next level and become an influencer and dominate in your market. And so if you're looking to connect, if you're looking to collaborate, if you're looking to elevate and go to the next level in your business, then you definitely want to be in my 12-week program. All you have to do is go to leslietmitchell.com, click on that link, and get started today. I'll see you soon.